Hey guys, I'm Urizi. This story is all about what if Naruto became a log worshipper. As the log takes your place, you become the log and the log becomes you. For a moment, you are an extension of the log's blessing unto ninja. As the holy book of log enters Naruto's life, everything changes. Before we proceed with the story, please like and subscribe to this channel if you liked the video, and don't forget to check the description for the other works of the author if you liked the story. Let's start. Chapter 1. You know, he was many things. He was a prankster, that's for sure. He was the unknowing and unpraised protector of millions of people, and that was just in Konoha. He was a jailer, a landlord, not that he knew. He was also a scapegoat, a punching bag, a stress relief, no stranger to pain. At times, he was a beacon of shining joy. However, at this particular moment, Naruto felt like one big bruise. His clothes were ripped into mere shreds of what they had been a few hours ago, his hair wet with dirty water, clogged with mud. He knew he should get up, he really should. Even with his unnatural, otherworldly healing, a hot shower always helped once the mobs attacked. However, since it was the annual Beat on Naruto festival, he couldn't help but wonder if he would even find an apartment. Deciding to find out, he stood up, wincing as he pulled a 6-inch glass shard out of his left hip. He barely took notice as the deep, jagged cut sealed with a nigh unnoticeable squelch, standing there for a moment as he tried to build the resolve to move. As he looked into the glass shard, he could see his reflection, and that horror was enough motivation to get him up and yearning for a shower. He dragged himself out of the dark alley, darting into another and ignoring the pain it caused. It would be rather oxymoronic to go out in the open when countless villagers and ninjas were out for his blood, after all. He twisted through back alleys, rarely used roads and abandoned warehouses, knowing the quickest and safest way home like the back of his hand. He was about 3 blocks away from his apartment, or what little was probably remaining from it, when, with a loud resounding thwack, something slammed into his forehead, knocking him into a trash can. Naruto had always firmly believed in the great benefits of doing nothing for the sake of nothing, procrastination with perhaps a little bit of picking yourself up in between. So, with that in mind, he lay on the rigid metal of the trash can, barely smelling the decaying waste due to his blood-covered skin. However, you couldn't spell Naruto without curiosity. Please keep in mind that spelling is not his forte, not even in the top 20 strongest points, and thus, Naruto got up, stretched his back and picked up the object which had assaulted him. It turned out to be a black, leather-bound book, simply titled, The Holy Book of Log. Naruto almost laughed at the odd name, so inconspicuous, yet it changed Naruto's life. He opened the first page, noticing that it was not made of paper. In fact, it smelled rather oddly like rice. Using what little knowledge he had of reading, he read. And thus I came unto thee, in a fit of blinding pain, the irony of which Naruto couldn't help just snort it, I bring enlightenment, justice, safety, and protection for thee, as I am, the log. Naruto sat enraptured, turning the next page, and the next, and the next, devouring the tiny black text. Night fell, and the old man began to worry for Naruto. He had not heard from the young one all day, and while that was not an unusual occurrence, it was the 10th of October, each year. The Sandaime seemed to age 5 years on this date as he saw what horrors the villagers unleashed on the young blonde boy. Hiruzen placed his pipe back in a drawer, stamping the last of his paperwork and getting up, his back creaking in protest. Deciding to call it a day, he began to search for the young blonde. He could have, perhaps, let one of his subordinates handle this, but as usual it would end in disaster. He had learned his lesson the last times. The nurse replaced his blood supply with highly toxic poison. Accidental, he was assured. The Umbu just arrived in time when they started attacking, but unfortunately had to return to the other side of the village as he had forgotten his kunai, most likely his camera. The man could not get a good hold on the bloody and beaten Naruto, so he couldn't refrain from dragging the boy across the ground, hitting a couple of metal signs and trash cans, not to mention rocks and trees on the way to the hospital. The Mednin had meant to use the mystical palm jutsu, but botched up a seal, thus accidentally activating a retching jutsu. Of course, no one bothered to deactivate it till poor Naruto was vomiting blood and air. You get the point. It took just under a minute for the wizened old man to find the blonde, the stench of blood strong in his nose. He came across Naruto sitting cross-legged, chanting a mantra. Pray AIs be to the log, savior of ninja. The blonde intoned monotonously. What in the name of Kami's beard are you doing? The old man asked incredulously. In his surprise, he totally ignored the blood-covered, filthy look. Naruto's eyes flew open, flinching as if slapped, immediately coming to attention. Sarutobi Jiji. I have been blessed with enlightenment. I have a new object of worship. Naruto said, before gasping. No. Not object. Living, filled with holy life sap. Praise be to the log. For with the log I may find peace, a never-breaking bond which I will honor with my life. Kawarimi. And with that simple hand seal, Naruto was replaced with a log, approximately the size of a toddler. Naruto, now behind Sarutobi, ran back to his original place, taking the log and hugging it reverently. Bless thee, for I shall always be with you, and you I. Naruto chanted, rubbing the log affectionately. By now Hiruzen was a bit scared. This was weird, even for Naruto. Naruto, how did you learn Kawarimi? In fact, who taught you to even use chakra? Sandaime asked, still confused. Naruto merely picked up the black book which had been in his lap the whole time. This book is my savior, Jiji. Naruto exclaimed. It is teaching me the ways of the logs, veering me from the path of darkness and into the path of bountiful goodness. I have just learned the most basic of jutsus. So it's a jutsu book? Hiruzen asked, unable to make heads or tails from the situation. No. It's a holy book. Holy book? Naruto, are you okay? Did you take any pills? I told you not to smell the orphanage carer's sugar. Naruto calmed down a bit, staring at his worried leader. I have never been better, for now I have the log. What are you going on about? What is this log? Sandaime asked, the subject beginning to grate on his nerves. The log has always been with us, Jiji, from the very beginning of ninja. We have a bond, forgotten and spat upon by modern ninja, yet despite this neglect the log always saves us. Naruto, are you talking about the Kawarimi no Jutsu? The aged Hokage asked. As the log takes your place, you become the log. The log becomes you. For a moment, you are an extension of the log's blessing unto ninja. Naruto quoted reverently, Book of the Log, Chronicle of the Replacement, verse 3. Can I see that book, Naruto? The Hokage asked kindly. The youth gladly supplied the book, watching as the Hokage scanned through the pages. Be careful, Jiji, it's made of rice paper, a prime example of log preserving. The book seemed to revolve around the role of the log in the Kawarimi no Jutsu, taking the hits for ninjas, etc. There was also several jutsu, mostly water, earth, and for some reason, some mokuton. Naruto, you can't read this book. Disbeliever. Naruto shrieked. Perish thee! Perish thee at the hands of the log! Naruto. Calm. This book contains several high-level jutsus, you could die if you try some of these. But, Jiji, I must honor the bond between the log and I. How will I do this without the holy instructions? The Sandaime pondered on the situation for a few seconds, before asking, Naruto, you'll be entering the academy in 2 years for the 1-year-long course, right? If the log wills so. It does. Anywho, how would you like to learn how to be a ninja from now? The Sandaime asked. He expected an explosion, back-breaking hugs and happiness from the 7-year-old boy, however the kid just stroked the log he was holding. Naruto was torn, excitement warred with confusion and worry. He had always wanted to become a ninja, but now he discovered, ninjas were bad. They killed, hurt, and mutilated logs every day. But Jiji. Ninjas hurt logs, taking it for granted that trees will just grow. How would you like it if I threw someone's child in the way of a fireball to save myself, and told you another kid would just grow? Then Naruto remembered who he was talking to. Wait, you're a ninja. In fact, one of the strongest. You hurt logs. Naruto, please, think of it this way. The Sandaime began, attempting to placate the child. If you become ninja, you can better protect the logs, as they protect us, he said, fighting the urge to snicker. If you don't become a ninja, how will you harness the powers of the log? In this book, there are jutsus to plant seeds, feed seeds nutritious materials, nurture seeds, heal trees, and even make trees. Make trees. Naruto gasped. Yes, make trees. However, that's a bloodline limit and you most likely do not possess the ability to harness it. The point is, you won't be able to help the log in any way if you don't become a ninja. Deal. But, everyone hates me. Naruto said dejectedly, losing his upbeat attitude. Except you, of course. The old man began to feel happy that Naruto loved him so much, however the image was shattered as he noticed the boy looking reverently at the log in his arms. He let out a small squeak of protest. Oh, yeah, you too, Jiji. Anyhow, I think if I can, I'll oversee your training personally. The Sandaime thought, thinking of what would happen if he entrusted the task with anyone else. I tried to teach him a katon jutsu but he botched up the hand seals and it accidentally exploded. Really? Awesome. Naruto shouted. But don't you have the boring paperwork to do? Naruto asked. Yes, but, I'll leave a Kage Bunshin with you to teach you. The Sandaime replied. What's a Kage Bunshin? Naruto asked. A shadow clone. The Sandaime replied, already making plans to have his clone go over jutsu theory with Naruto later. So why don't you leave the Kage Bunshin to do boring paperwork? Naruto asked, confused. Was it something I said? Naruto asked, confused. You're a genius. Oh, why didn't I think of that? The Sandaime said, ignoring the loud plop of Naruto's sweat drop. And just for that, we can start training tomorrow. And so begun Naruto's journey into the world of ninja, a journey which he happily proclaimed was, in the name of the Holy Log. Chapter 2. The Sandaime, with his new protege, were standing in the Sarutobi's personal, seal-protected training ground. Naruto had been worried that people would hate his Jiji for training the boy, but, the old man insisted that no one would ever find out. Currently, the Sandaime was testing Naruto's chakra capacity. Said boy sat on a large paper, complicated seals on each corner of said paper. Some would just use a jutsu and compare on how much they thought that drained them, but the Yonbushi Chakra Ginmai Fun, 4-point chakra testing seal, could be used to find an exact estimate. The Sandaime flipped through the 17 hand seals, before touching each corner of the paper with a hand, glowing with pale blue chakra. As he touched the fourth, a square-shaped gray barrier, 3 meters high, surrounded Naruto. Now, Naruto, the Sandaime said, getting the youth's attention. Do you remember how to take out your chakra? Yes. Ram seal and then pull it out. Well, good. I want you to take out as much as you can. Wait, what happens? Naruto asked. This technique can give me a rough estimation of wherein your chakra capacity levels lie. It changes color, depending on the amount of chakra, the least being green, the most being blood red. Okay. Here goes. Naruto focused, setting his hands in a ram seal. Immediately he was surrounded with a ghostly blue outline, making the barrier turn green. Closing his eyes to better focus, Naruto pulled more out, more, as much as he could. He would become a strong ninja, in the name of the log. The Sandaime's hat flew off its owner's head, seemingly possessed. The harsh winds generated pulled and tugged at the Sandaime's cloak, but right now he was focused on one thing. The boy was surrounded by ghostly blue energy. It would have likely been flames, spanning for, roughly, 2 meters in every direction, but due to the barrier it went straight up in an eerie blue column. Thank Kami for the Npi no Fun, seals of hiding. The barrier rapidly streamed through a myriad of colors. Green, turquoise, blue, purple, yellow, orange, finally stopping at blood red, leaving the Sandaime was awestruck. If this was true, then this 7-year-old boy had the chakra of 3 jounins. Alright Naruto, that will be enough. The Sandaime exclaimed, releasing the barrier just as Naruto stopped the flow of chakra. You did excellently. That was truly amazing. He said, answering the unasked question. And with this power, I will protect the log. Naruto exclaimed, his inner zealot making itself known. Come on Jiji, let's go learn some jutsu. However, Jiji would not be budged. Naruto, we will work on the basics. If you want to ever use any of the more complicated techniques, you will need to achieve much higher levels of finesse with your chakra. You will need to learn Taijutsu and Genjutsu, learn to manipulate earth and water chakras. There is a long way to go. Speaking of which, I want to see something. The Sandaime was not originally going to do this for several years down the line, but, seeing as Naruto's chakra was already so strong, it may just be possible. With that thought in mind, the Sandaime pulled out a small piece of paper, giving it to Naruto, who instantly bowed his head, offering a prayer to the log which was mutilated for this purpose. Deciding not to comment on the weird ritual, the Sandaime began instructing. Naruto, could you please channel some chakra into the paper? Hi. At first it was difficult to channel without a seal, to which the Hokage decided that they would soon fix that, but never one to give up. After a minute of a constipated air, concentrated looks, the paper glowed blue before giving the results. The paper ripped in half. I can't believe it. This young and he already has elemental capabilities. The Sandaime thought, awestruck. Just when he was about to announce Naruto's element, the two halves of the paper once again changed. One half became soggy, drooping out of Naruto's palm, falling to the floor, while the other crumbled into brown dirt. Wow! Naruto, you know this shouldn't be physically possible? You have 3 elements at age 7. The Hokage said, awed. Awesome. Which elements? Air seems to be your most outstanding, with earth and water close behind. Epic. I can help the trees and logs with my water and earth. Naruto exclaimed. Let's begin. The professor pondered on a stray thought for a minute. I wonder. If the tests of the Yonbushi Chakra Ginmai Fun are anything to go by, then he is more than able. In fact, he is probably most suited to it. However, before I introduce it, maybe we should teach him the basics. Okay Naruto, look at these scrolls. The Sandaime said, taking out 3 scrolls for the young boy. Each was a taijutsu scroll, giving general descriptions, with pictures of example moves. I know all 3 of those styles, so before you decide I can give you a quick example. But Jiji, why do you know 3 taijutsu styles? Naruto asked, taking the first scroll, labeled, Senkouken, Flash Fist. Well, there are several reasons, but there are 2 outstanding examples. First of all, I wanted to be flexible. I didn't want to be stuck with one style, otherwise, when there is a weakness in it which others can exploit, I would be at disadvantage. He explained, Naruto's mouth forming a silent O. As well as that, you need to be proficient in at least 9 styles to become a Jonin, so that was a motivation. Anyhow, I see you have the flash style, which revolves around pure, devastating speed and accuracy to decimate your opponent with hand-based moves. Here, I'll give you an example. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. Another copy of the aged Hokage was formed, the said doppelganger getting into a basic academy style. The real Hokage slipped into the Senkouken stance, before rushing to his temporary opponent. All Naruto saw was after images. He blinked, and the Kage Bunshin had puffed in smoke. He was awed at the old man's display of speed and agility. He wordlessly opened the second scroll, titled, Toraiken, Tiger Fist. Without further ado, the Hokage once again made a clone. This time the style was ruthless and brutal, strong, but fast. This style can also be utilized with weapons. The Hokage said, pulling out 6 senbon from his pocket, which he had brought specifically to show the child. He carefully arranged them on his hands, using chakra to stick them to his knuckles, once again beginning the clawing, cat-like motions of the Toraiken. After the demonstration, Naruto picked out the last was labeled, Takyuken, Shield Fist, a defensive style revolving around solid blocks, parries and counters, which the Hokage demonstrated again. So what do you want? The Hokage asked. All of them. Naruto said, but, before the Hokage could reject the idea, he said, but I'll learn the Takyuken first, please. I don't think I'm strong enough for Toraiken or fast enough for Senkouken, but I will learn them someday. And so began Naruto's Taijutsu training. After 3 hours of training, a battered, tired, but satisfied Naruto sat down in front of a steaming cup of green tea. Under the kind visage, the Sandaime was evil, Naruto was now sure of it. That wasn't training, it was torture. For the first hour they had gotten the basics of 5 katas down, and for the next 2 hours, Naruto would find himself slammed face first into the ground for the smallest of mistakes. His resolve never weakened, as the holy log was with him the whole time. They sipped the green tea in a comfortable silence, Naruto with the book of log in front of him the whole time. After around 10 minutes of break, they got back to lessons. The professor promptly got up, ripped a leaf of an acorn tree and walked back. Naruto gasped, before angrily glaring at the disbeliever. He walked up to the tree, muttering apologies, and something that sounded like unrespectful old geezers. The blonde then picked an acorn off the tree, making a small hole a few meters away to plant it, before returning to the Sandaime, who decided, for the sake of his sanity, not to comment. Naruto, watch what I do and try to guess how I'm doing it. The Sandaime instructed, taking the leaf and sticking it to his forehead with chakra. Naruto squinted a bit, before deciding. You're sticking it to you with chakra? Yes, but how? Naruto pondered some more. You make a sort of suction cup? To stick it. The old man positively beamed when the young boy got it so quickly. So, he instructed the boy to try it himself. Naruto took the leaf, tenderly, apologizing for taking it from its family and muttering something about passing on to the forest of life, which once again, Sandaime carefully ignored. The leaf flew, landing several meters away, slamming against a tree. Sorry leaf, tree. Naruto said, cringing sadly. With such terrible chakra control I don't know how he managed to learn the Kawarimi in an hour. Maybe. Okay Naruto, since you have so much chakra, we'll not be doing this the conventional way. The Sandaime said, before pulling out a scroll with the kanji for weight on it. He channeled some chakra into it, leaving him with a 5-kilo piece of paper in his hand. Most start with small, light objects, getting larger to build chakra capacity, but since control is your problem, not capacity, we'll be working backwards. He explained, giving the weighted paper to Naruto, who once again apologized to the paper. The Sandaime fought the urge to smack his head. We may have another might guy on our hands. Out into Kigakure. The spandex-clad man was just about to punch the missing nin, instead stopping to sneeze violently on the man's face. Someone speaks of my youthfulness. Naruto took the paper, surprised at the weight, but nevertheless, placed it on the palm of his hand. He gathered the chakra necessary, molding it to his will, before turning his hand over. The weighted paper drooped slightly, holding for a second, before falling down to the floor, disgruntling the young boy. In the name of the log, I will try again and again, and if I cannot finish by the end of the hour, I will stay all night trying to do it with a 20 kg. Naruto exclaimed loudly. For some reason, the Sandaime shivered violently. Thwack. The missing nin fell to the ground, victim of one of Guy's almighty punches. The said Nukanin's teammate growled, charging at the spandex-clad man, planning to headbutt him in the face. The Konohanin just cupped his hands around his mouth, reminiscent of a cat on jutsu. The Nukanin's eyes widened, already too close and too fast to escape, so he just braced himself for the impact of achoo. The most almighty sneeze he had ever felt in his life. He flew for a couple of meters before falling again. My youth is spreading on this youthful day. I will live up to the reputation of the youthful one who speaks of my youth with fiery youthfulness. By the end of the hour, Naruto could keep it to his palm if he concentrated really, really hard, and even then it was unstable, falling if he got distracted. After the chakra exercise, they studied some jutsu theory, after which they studied ninja history. History. Naruto whined. You're kidding me, right? We're ninja. We kick ass in the name of our friends and logs. Ignoring the last part, the Sandaime replied, we must study history so as to learn from others' mistakes, to see others' battle tactics etc. etc. Many things can be learnt. Now, if you shut your trap, we can start. The Sandaime said cheerily. Now the Shodaime was the first Hokage of Konoha, in fact he was the one who made Konoha. You see all these trees? He made them. Don't you mean he planted them, Jiji? Naruto asked. No. He made them. He had a rare control over wood, called Mokyuton. Naruto had hearts in his eyes. Did he worship the log? The Sandaime sighed, having hoped this wouldn't come up. He was the log pope. Naruto screamed girlishly. He's my hero. This is going to be a Luong day. For the remainder of the year, that's how Naruto and the Hokage spent their days. The Hokage found himself with much more time and less stress now that he could use Kage Bunshin to deal with the least important matters, spending most of the extra time with the log worshipper. Said worshipper of logs spent 2 hours every morning meditating in the name of the log, another 2 hours afterwards strengthening his body and conditioning his muscles, followed by a half-hour relaxation session, in which Naruto showered, and read the book of log. Straight afterwards, the boy worked on the Taijutsu for 3 hours, followed by 2 hours chakra control and 3 hours academics, everything ranging from maths and chemistry to ninja history and jutsu theory. Naruto's progress was solid, dedicating his work for the holy log. This left Naruto with around 3.5 hours each day to himself. For the first half of the year, Naruto had spent this time worshipping log, planting trees and studying the tree anatomy so that he may someday use the Rogucho no Jutsu, log healing jutsu. Then halfway through the year he had discovered the Henge no Jutsu, transformation technique, which changed everything. Suddenly a new boy appeared in the neighborhood, who if anyone asked was an orphan in the orphanage. The orphanage had so many wards that if anyone asked them about a 10-year-old black-haired unassuming boy, they'd be able to pick loads of examples. And so, Kuroki Kenshi came into being, doing odd jobs in his spare time for those who couldn't be bothered to hire for D-rank missions. Weeding, painting fences, babysitting. The only one who knew of Naruto's second persona was the Hokage himself, who even redirected some D-rank missions for the young boy. Needless to say the said boy not only gained a lot of extra pocket money, most of which he used to buy seeds or save, but he also gained a lot of chakra control from keeping up a constant henge for several hours at a time. And so approached Biton Naru Day. But this time, Naruto thought of it as a test of his ninja skills. Throughout the whole day, anyone searching for Naruto to vent some pent-up frustration would find them ruthlessly attacked with pain-filled balloons. At around 6, Naruto went to visit the Hokage in his secret Sarutobi training area while a Kage Bunshin gave the annual speech for the Kyuubi walked into the grassy clearing to find a small table, with 2 chairs on either side. On the table was a variety of food prepared by the Sarutobi household servants, even though they weren't told who for. Oh, and everything was log-shaped. The sandwiches looked like 2 halves of a log, with brown-dyed fillings, ranging from the meaty to the cheesy. There were small, sweet rolls and buns, shaped like logs, cups which looked like hollow logs in a cake, shaped like, of course, a log. Awesome! Naruto screamed. Thanks Jiji. The two of them chatted for a while, before beginning to eat. Itadakimasu. The old Hokage said, grabbing a log burger. I thank the holy log for blessing me with the food in front of us, and in its name I eat. Naruto exclaimed, taking a log cupcake. They both enjoyed the food, Naruto just happy that his Jiji, with whom his bond had strengthened tenfold in the last year, had thought to throw him a party when he could be enjoying his time with other adults. Said Hokage pulled out 8 candles, all shaped like twigs, of course, and impaled them into the cake, lighting them. Make a wish. Sarutobi instructed, before Naruto blew out the candles, allowing the Hokage to cut it up and give him several slices of what seemed to be log chocolate cake. Now, presents. The Hokage said happily. Naruto's eyes widened, having not expected such a thing. He allowed himself to be led away from the table to a tree in the corner. The Sandaime brought chakra to his right hand, tapping 15 hidden spots on the tree, finally, pulling down a branch, a disguised lever, and allowing some blood to spill on one of the leaves. With a grinding sound, the tree sunk into the ground, leaving a hole with a ladder descending down. After you, the Sandaime said to Naruto, who climbed down the ladder followed by the aged Hokage. He walked into a dark corridor, dark until the Sandaime activated torches with a burst of Katon chakra on each, which stopped at a dead end with a door at either side. Naruto looked up questioningly, to which the Hokage said pick. Going with his left side, Naruto opened the door, finding himself in a large room filled with all manners of weapons and armors from all over the elemental countries. Naruto was left awestruck. "Jiji, this is all amazing, but why are you showing me it?" Naruto asked, puzzled. "For your birthday, pick 3. 1 weapon, and 2 of whatever else you want, and I'll teach you how to use them since I think you are mature enough to use weapons now." "Thank you, Jiji," Naruto said, squeezing the old man. "Need breath," Jiji said, breathing heavily as he was released. Naruto was running around frantically, trying to choose. It took some time, but eventually Naruto chose. He came back to the Hokage with some lightweight stealth boots with chakra conductive soles and tips, a pair of fingerless black gloves, reinforced with threads of chakra conducting obanite ore to protect his hands and possibly be of use in some jutsus, and his final choice really confused the old man, a jet black whip, 2 meters long, with an ivory handle. "Why the whip, Naruto?" "There was an instruction manual next to it," Naruto said, pulling out the said paper, and apologizing to the log which was mutilated for it. "So? You do know whips are very hard to use and can be complicated? A sword would be much easier." "I know," Naruto said. "Look." The blonde channeled chakra into the handle, a blue kanji glowing. With a snapping sound, the whip became a double-sided cross between a staff and a spear. It's that whip. My grandfather, Sarutobi Sasuke, wielded it. I hope you'll honor his memory." "I will, Jiji. This is the best birthday ever. It's not over yet. Come," Jiji said cheerily, exiting the door, closely followed by a hurrying Naruto. They entered the other door, finding themselves in a huge library full of scrolls. "This is the Sarutobi library. Pick 5 jutsu and I'll teach them to you, but if they're higher than B rank then it'll have to wait till later on this year," Naruto, for lack of a better word, squealed. This was heaven to his 8-year-old mind. Once again, it took some time before Naruto could choose, but eventually he came back holding 5 scrolls. "What did you choose?" Sarutobi asked kindly. The Uzumaki child began to read his choices. Futon, Kazekii, Wind Release Wind Whip, Doton, Chuchibui, Earth Release, Earthen Protection, Suton, Jinsoku Tama, Water Release, Rapid Shot, Futon Shikiranuki Renda, Wind Release, 1000 Cuts Barrage, and finally, Doton, Shinjuzanshu no Jutsu. "You have quite the fanatism for elemental jutsu," the Sandaime comment. "No. My fanatism is all for the holy log. Anyway, thank you so much. This has been the best birthday ever. I have one last present for you, Naruto. I'm going to teach you the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Naruto gasped. Really? Thanks to his ninjutsu theory, he knew all about the training capabilities and was well aware of the possibilities, especially with his chakra capacity. Anyway, the hand signs for the Kage Bunshin is. The Sandaime began as they left the storage area. "Specific to the jutsu. I know I've been begging you to teach me this for a year, remember? Well, go on then, give it a go," Sandaime encouraged. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. For a second, the world was smoke. Smoke in every direction, an impenetrable haze, hiding the much-awaited results. And the results did not disappoint. If anything, they left the 2 real people there ecstatic. Naruto was everywhere. On trees, on the Sarutobi household, it was as cramped as a KFC chicken pen. Clones were everywhere, a mass of blindingly bright orange jackets and blonde mobs of hair. The best thing was that, Naruto hadn't even broken a sweat. "Naruto, how many clones do you think you just made?" "I think, around maybe 700. Naruto said, estimating in his head. Sarutobi's jaw dropped. 700 clones. For an 8-year-old? Well, I think that's enough for today. You can dispel them. No. Naruto replied. Before Sarutobi could talk, he turned to his clones. You. 100 of you go do chakra control exercises. He ordered, pointing to a bunch on his left. Hi, boss. They replied, running off to some obscure training ground. You. Yes, the 250 on my left. Split into groups of 50 and practice each of these jutsu. Hi, boss. They replied. Since all the objects on person got replicated too, they found the 5 scrolls in their pockets. Before ordering the next batch, Naruto turned to the stunned Hokage for permission. Can I use your library? The normal one. Sure. You. 20 of you go to Jiji's library and study everything you can get your hands on. Now the last 300 or so, dispel one by one. Jiji shouted. You've already got a lot of clones out there, probably going to train until their chakra finishes, so best not to overdo it. Now, off you go Naruto. See you here tomorrow, 7 AM sharp. Hi, Jiji-sensei. Naruto turned to leave, sprinting away, but stopping at the edge of the training field. And Jiji. Thank you. For everything. May the log be with you. That night, when he got home, Naruto summoned another 50 clones to begin the first jutsu in the Book of Log. With the Sutten, Junsei Mizu no Jutsu, water release, pure waters technique, he would be able to feed and grow saplings with pure, clear spring water. Chapter 3. And that's how you throw a kunai. The Sandaime finished, pointing at the steel weapon firmly embedded, bullseye into the target. And with the end of that explanation, Naruto's weapon training begun. While Naruto repeatedly threw the kunai at the leather, foam-filled target, Sandaime pondered the start of the explanation. Flashback. Naruto shut the Holy Book of Log, walking over to the range training side of the field. He found the Sandaime already sitting there, a bunch of kunai on his lap. Naruto! He exclaimed. Today we start weapon training. I know you want to learn the whip, spear staff and such, but first you must learn the basics. Flashy movements when throwing kunai are unnecessary and often will just ruin the aim and speed. He explained, picking up a kunai. Naruto let off a strangled shriek when he threw it with a flick of his wrists, slamming into the vaguely human-shaped mannequin up front. Hiruzen Saruta Beeini! Naruto screamed angrily. The logs. End flashback. Needless to say, the Hokage soon found a sufficient replacement. By the end of the hour, Naruto could hit a target bullseye 3/10 times, and hit the target 7/10 times. Needless to say he needed work, because a ninja would rarely be stationary when throwing kunai. Naruto! Sarutobi called. Time for a spar. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. The Kage Bunshin only had 40% strength, but that was still more than enough, and such, Sarutobi still had to pull his punches. Hi, sensei. Naruto chanted, getting into his Takuken style. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A dozen clones appeared, about to charge the Hokage's clone, who simply flipped through hand seals. Katon, Kane Kazui. Fire release, flame stream. Instantly, a stream of flame slammed into the clones, dispelling them. It was about to hit Naruto, who hesitantly used his own jutsu. Kawarimi. Naruto stared in horror at the blackened log which had saved him from the jutsu, sending a silent prayer of sorrow and thanks to it. The Hokage was about to attack again, but Naruto solemnly held up a hand to stop him. Jiji, what rank was that jutsu? B rank. Why? Naruto didn't answer, instead opting to make a clone. Said clone took a pen and paper out of Naruto's pocket, before running to a table to begin writing. Naruto, what is he doing? Writing a 1,500-word apology to the log, before burying it with a new seed so that it may reborn. When using the log to escape a fire jutsu, it is Konohan custom to write an apology letter to the log, and depending on rank of jutsu escaped from depicts how many words are needed. C rank, 2000, B rank, 1500, A rank, 1000. Only S rank and higher are excused from the writing of the letter. Even then, it is still recommended. Naruto explained, quoting the log excerpt number 124. Naruto, that's not Konohan custom, though. Sandaime said quietly. Well, it should be. Naruto screamed, before calming down. I've already accepted you as a disbeliever, so let us just continue. They got back into their stances, Naruto staying in place. The Sandaime rushed at him, attacking fiercely. Naruto ducked the roundhouse kick, jumped away from the heel kick, blocked the thrust to his stomach and slapped away the punch aimed at his face. He knew for a fact that if the Sandaime had gone full on, then even with a Kagebunshin then he'd already be dead. Once again the Sandaime attacked. High punch, low kick, scissor kick, uppercut, left hook, they danced a dance of taijutsu, one on the defensive, one on the attack. Pain blossomed in the blonde's jaw as the Hokage's foot collided with his face. He was sent flying, but drawing on the vigorous lessons of how to fall, he backflipped in the air, regaining his bearings. He was already going through hand seals, albeit quite slowly due to his vast inexperience with jutsu. Futon, Kazeki. The wind began to form around his arm, lengthening to a whip, before spluttering out. Damn it. They fought a bit some more, the Sandaime mainly testing Naruto's taijutsu skills. By the end of the sparring session, he guessed that Naruto was maybe B rank with his Tokuken, but still needing a lot of work in its offensive areas. It was a defensive style but there was still lots of offensive moves which Naruto had yet to master. For the past year, they had done naught but chakra control when it came to jutsus, thus Naruto was, at least, genin level there. A far shot better than the rubbish he was working with before, though. With that in mind, the Sandaime decided to start Naruto's elemental training. Naruto, make 150 clones please. The Sandaime asked, before making 3 of his own. Each of his 3 clones took 50 of Naruto's to a corner to teach them elemental manipulation. It wasn't actually mandatory to learn it, but once you did it would make using such jutsu a lot easier. Naruto, we need to work on the speed at which you make hand seals. Right now you're slow, very very slow. Naruto pouted at the degrading comment, but decided that, in the name of the holy log, he would not complain. Just as he was about to begin, he heard a shout. We will not be cutting leaves in half. Holy log Sandaime. Naruto began to glare at his teacher, who gulped nervously. But what could they use instead of leaves? Naruto would whine just as much about papers, well, he'd just have to put up with some whining. He went up to the wind element training group, the real Naruto glaring holes in his back the whole time, before instructing his clone to take out the 50 papers he had sealed in a scroll. All the Narutos were about to scream when the Kage tried to hand it out, but a hand from the real deal silenced them. These are not real papers, just shadow cloned ones. It's okay to practice on them, he said before leaving. The clones still didn't like it, but decided that if the log needed him to learn this power to protect it, he would learn it. After the day's training was over, Naruto got into a meditative position. He recited some passages from the holy book of log for a bit, before he sent a clone to tell his other clones, which had been training with the elements for a good 9 hours or so now, to dispel one by one. Clearing his mind, Naruto carefully organized and reviewed all the information that was sent to him. No significant progress in water or earth, but wind. He took a paper out of his pocket, praying that the log which was mutilated for this purpose go to the forest of life, however also knowing that it would be one more ninja not saved by the log. He focused his chakra, covering the slip of paper with both hands. He tried to grind the chakra into a sharp-edged wind, before guiding it to ravage the paper. A small tear appeared in it but otherwise, he knew he still had a lot of work to do. Of course he hadn't expected it to work straight away, but 9 hours with 50 clones, 450 hours. He felt that should have borne some fruit. He then tried to drench the paper in water, but could do no more than make a small corner wet. He quickly moved on to Doton, scooping up a handful of mud, trying to control it with his mere chakra. That failed too. The Sandaime, only a few meters away, saw Naruto's disappointment, decided to explain. Naruto, listen, what you're doing now is not necessary at all. In fact it's one of the 2 steps for making new jutsu, not just using them. What I mean is that, right now, you could still learn the futon, kazeki, wind release, wind whip. Without this training. Okay but, I don't really get it. The Sandaime pondered a bit, before talking again. Okay, think of this analogy, let's say, someone didn't know how to eat with chopsticks, and you had to teach them. If learning a wind jutsu was teaching them to eat with chopsticks, then doing what you've been practicing is learning to make chopsticks. Oh I get it. So after I learn how to do this properly, then I can make jutsu. Yes, but you'd also need to be able to shape the chakra as you want it to be. You might be able to generate the cutting winds, but if you, say, wanted to make a jutsu which throws a wind spear, you'd have to be able to shape the chakra correctly. Oh. Naruto said happily. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 200 clones popped into existence. Naruto immediately directed 150 to work on elemental manipulation, 50 for each element, while the other 50 were instructed to learn chakra control. However, before they could do so, the Sandaime decided to teach them a new method. He ushered for the clones, and the original to follow him to the largest tree in the training ground, planted and nurtured specifically for this purpose, a good 20 meters high and a thick, 1.5 meter diameter. I will now teach you the art of tree walking. You must focus a specific amount of chakra onto your feet to allow you to climb, which is hard enough, but too much and you will repel off, too little and you will fall. Which reminds me, the Kage said, pulling out a scroll. He gathered some chakra, sending it in, before saying, Kuchi Yase, Shuuran Kashan no Jutsu, summoning technique, training Seiyushianing. Instantly, heavily Seiyushian foam-filled training mats appeared, which the clones arranged around the tree. If one clone popped for every mistake, then the Sandaime suspected the 50 clones would last approximately 50 seconds. Anyhow, young man, let your clones train and don't forget to do meditation when they dispel. Don't want to wake up to find you in the hospital, comatized. Hi, sensei. Good night, Jiji. Naruto said, before making his way to his home. It was only just 6 p.m., a good amount of light was left in the sky and people were still up and about, working. Naruto ignored all the glares, whistling a merry tune as he walked through the streets. Oh, I can't wait to begin making jutsus. I'll kick ass and take names, protecting logs all day long. However, Naruto's thoughts were cut off by a shrill scream of my baby. He looked to the source, finding a 4-year-old girl walking in the middle of the road to get her ball, right in the path of a speedily approaching horse-drawn carriage. The rider, horse, mother, and toddler all looked horrified, waiting for the imminent crash. Boom. And crash it did. The sound of horses' hooves smacking flesh could be heard, the carriage smashing into pieces at the sudden resistance, the riders, an important noble couple, being sent flying out the back. The little toddler screamed in what seemed to be agony, the smoke covering all from the view. The mother started sobbing, a nearby store clerk coming to comfort her. The smoke cleared, everyone expecting to find the mangled body of a 4-year-old, blood and all, but however were treated to a different sight. Valiantly covering the young girl with his own body was an 8-year-old blonde boy, whom everyone recognized as the demon. The little girl escaped from the iron grip, running to her mother, who was now sobbing happily, hugging the girl. Said mother looked up at the impromptu savior, who was now getting up, dusting himself off. Thank you, so much. She said. You saved my baby girl. Oh, it was nothing. Naruto said, looking at the woman she had saved. Wide Hyuga eyes stared back at him. Oh wait, you're from the Haiu, why? The last thing he heard was a gasp, before everything went black. When Naruto woke up, he found himself in a dripping area reminiscent of a sewer. He was standing in water, up to his ankles, but he didn't actually feel wet at all, it just felt like walking through water while covered in Vaseline. A large, metal-barred cage quickly drew his attention. A paper, on which was written seal, was stuck next to the bars, from which a very evil intent seemed to be radiating. Naruto walked straight up to the source of evil. He was treated with an eye full of dark, menacing red eyes, sharpened teeth, a somehow evil-looking snout and bunny ears. Naruto said out loud, his voice echoing. A horrible, breathtaking roar was the reply, a monstrous, 40-foot fox coming into view. Bunny ears. It screamed. Bunny ears? How dare you, puny mortal? If it weren't for this demmed cage, I'll gut you and hang you by your testicles. Naruto winced at the less than welcome image, before turning back to the large cage. Eesh, say it, don't spray it. He was treated with another roar, a large, red paw slamming into the front of the cage, as if to attack Naruto. Who's my friend? Calm down. Grr. So, Who are you? Naruto asked. I? Who am I? The fox-like creature asked. I am the king of the demons, the most terrifying sinister thing known to man, able to flatten mountains and conjure hurricanes with a simple thought. I've killed millions without a second thought, indeed, without even a first. I lurk in humans' nightmares, WA-. But you have bunny ears. Naruto pointed out, eliciting an angry growl. Boy! You are talking to the immortal, invincible Kyuubi no Yoko. How dare you? I'll smash you to a pulp. The fox threatened. PFF, smash me to a pulp? I'm still waiting to be gutted and hung by my testicles. Besides, the log will save me. Before Kyuubi could retort, Naruto caught on to something. Wait, you're the Kyuubi? So what the hell are you doing here? Where in the name of the holy log are we? We are in your mindscape, puny human. Haha, I really do have a mind like a sewer. And if you're any indication, thoughts like sewage. So, what are you doing in my mind? Have a habit of jumping people's thoughts, or has my mind just constructed you? The Kyuubi growled at the sewage barb. Careful what you say, impudent whelp. I can make your life hell, and I've killed for less. But rest assured, puny mortal, I am the 100% real Kyuubi, in the flesh, air, chakra. Anyway, I'm not here cause I want to be here. I'm here because that infernally idiotic blonde-haired Kage sealed me into your stomach. The only thing that kept me sane is knowing that he's in eternal torment with the Shinigami. Wait. Yuri sealed in me? My stomach. Then, Naruto fainted. He woke up again, seeing white, thinking he was hallucinating or something. Then the strong smell of disinfectant filled his nostrils, and he knew he was hospitalized. Naruto, nice to see you finally awake. The Hokage said from a plastic chair to his right. Rather heroic of you. Aged 8 and you're already saving princesses. Princesses? Naruto asked dully, still waking up. Yes. You saved Hyuga Hanabi, youngest daughter of the clan head Hayashi. Quite a feat, young man, I'm sure the Holy Log would be proud. Really? Naruto said, positively beaming. Yes. Now the doctor says I should leave you to rest, so I'll see you later. We won't continue training till tomorrow, you took quite the beating. Broken ribs, permanent scars, anyway, bye Naruto-kun. The Hokage turned to leave, and just as he got to the door, Naruto spoke up, causing the Hokage to freeze and nearly laugh. Did you know the Kyuubi has bunny ears? Naruto asked accusingly. The Sandaime stifled a chuckle, knowing the situation did not call for it, carefully locking the door and sealing it shut as well as using a small jutsu to prevent prying ears and eyes. Is that why everyone hates me? Am I really a monster? A demon? No. Sandaime gasped. Don't ever think that. You are a perfectly fine specimen of a human ninja to be. But Jiji. Would an evil, fearsome demon be a log worshipper? No. That's absurd. Would an evil, fearsome demon forgive thousands of villagers for constant abuse? Definitely not. Would an evil, fearsome demon save a little girl from impending doom, using themselves as a shield? Hell no. Thus, you are not an evil, fearsome demon. But, why me? Naruto asked. Why did he seal it in me? Well, Naruto. The Sandaime sighed. He couldn't really say the true reason. We could spend our whole lives saying, why me, and what if, but what good would that do? It's best just to prove yourself better, stronger than the problems you face. Prove to everyone that you are not the Kyuubi, but a faithful ninja protecting Konoha and the holy logs. Naruto cheered up at the pep talk before a knocking sound on the door got his attention. Jiji, someone's trying to get in. Why should unseal it now? The Sandaime did just that, and in walked Hyuga Hayashi, his wife Hyuga Hikage, with their two daughters, Hanabi and Hinata. Naruto, I'd like to introduce you to the Hyuga clan head, Hayashi, his wife, Hikage, and his two daughters, Hanabi and Hinata. OER. Naruto stuttered at his impromptu visit. Hayashi-sama, Hikage-san, hi. I'll leave you alone now. Sandaime said, leaving. So, what brings you here? Naruto asked. We wanted to thank you for saving my daughter, Hanabi. Hayashi begun, the epitome of stoicism. The Hyuga clan owe you a life debt as of today. Ask of anything and we will try to fulfill your wish. Yes, thank you so much for saving my daughter, Naruto-kun. Hikage said happily. I can only imagine what would have happened had you not been there. The cubit chose that exact moment to show a mental picture of a mangled little girl, ripped into pieces, head rolling down the walkway. Naruto shuddered, eliciting confused looks from his visitors. Yeah, Naruto. Thanks for saving me. Hanabi said excitedly. Hayashi frowned at this obvious display of emotions, so beneath a Hyuga, but let it pass since Hanabi would only just start her training in a few weeks. Thanks for saving her, na Naruto. I don't know what IIW would have done had she. Hinata said, prodding her fingers together. Enough of that, the Hyuga clan head said, so Naruto, what would you like, so we may settle this life debt? Let it not be said that Hyuga Hayashi was without honor. Naruto thought for a minute. What did he really want? He had a trainer, a Jiji, weapons, the holy log. I want. Naruto said quietly, barely heard, I want a friend. Oh, how very cliché. Honestly, that's so cheesy. The Kyuubi commented in the back of his mind. Naruto frowned, deciding to bring the subject up with the Hokage later. Well, sorry to say Hayashi begun, but was cut off by his wife. Ruto, that we can give you exactly what you need. The Hyuga patriarch glanced questioningly at his wife, who mouthed, I'll explain later. In fact, why don't you come have dinner with us on Friday, maybe play with Hinata and Hanabi for a bit? Sure. Naruto said, before turning to the two daughters in question. Hello. I'm Naruto. He said, having not introduced himself. The two girls giggled. What time should I come? I think around 4 p.m. would be suitable, Hayashi answered, giving ample time for you to play. He spat out the last word in mild disgust, but knew that without balance his daughter would end up like Hinata, a big, huge failure. With my daughters before and after the dinner. Hikage, let us go, leave the girls here to get to know him for a bit. We will come to pick them up in an hour. And with that the two adults left. Did you get any scars? Hinata asked eagerly. Something told Naruto that this was not normal, but he decided to indulge the girl. He lifted up his shirt, turning around to show the red, swollen skin. 2 hoof prints could be seen, as well as several deep cuts from shrapnel and the sharp edges of the horse's hooves. Hanabi winced. Wow. You took so much to save me. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Hanabi squealed, hugging the blonde. I can't wait till you come over. It's gonna be so fun. Can't, br. Seeing his blue face, Hinata decided to step in, pulling the young girl off her. So Naruto? Hinata asked shyly, what do you do in your spare time? Oh. Mostly I train to be a ninja. Naruto replied. Are you going to be a ninja? Of course. What type of Hyuga does not become a ninja? Hanabi scoffed. Have you started your training, Hinata? Naruto asked. Yes, I did, last year. But. She said, regaining her shyness. I am weak. Pfft. Naruto said. I bet you could kick my butt any day. Hinata smiled, while Hanabi just scoffed. So what else do you do, Naruto-kun? Hanabi asked her savior. I worship the holy log. Plip plop. Hanabi and Hinata sweat dropped, staring at Naruto, who was holding up a black leather-clad book, aptly titled, The Holy Book of Log. You worship logs? Hanabi asked. As in the inanimate, dead logs. Hinata added. The Sandaime, watching the scene with his telescopic crystal ball, couldn't help but chuckle. The girls were just asking for it. No. They're alive. Filled with holy life sap. The two girls just stared at the weird boy. Naruto, what are you talking about? Hinata asked, foregoing her stutter in favor for the worry for the boy's sanity. The logs that save Ninja every day. The bond between us is unbreakable. More sweat drops. And as the smoke cleared, his foe stared in awe at the log. Blackened and charred, the log crumbled. The ninja, filled with righteous wrath, fell upon his foe and slew him. He made his way to the log, and wept. His companion, the log that had accompanied him through so many battles, was no more. He spoke thus to his fallen companion, though now you have fallen in battle, you rest where the logs forever grow. The forest of life called for you, and you answered its call, as you did mine. I thank you, my friend. Naruto quoted reverently. Na Naruto-kun, are you talking about the Keikoerimi? If that stupid creature does not stop her infernal stuttering, I will rip her tongue out and use it to slap some sense into her. Kyuubi raged. Exactly. Naruto said, zealot mode. All hail the holy log. All hail. Hanabi shouted, having read the first paragraph. Walking back home, Hayashi shivered. He didn't know why, but he felt something terrible had been unleashed. The girls and Naruto kept chatting for a bit, though Hanabi mainly read the holy book of log. Deep inside, Naruto was feeling ecstatic, said feeling of ecstasy disgusting his tenant. Eventually, Hayashi and Hikage came to collect the children. They bade their farewells, Hanabi with a vigorous, "May the log be with you." Later on, Hayashi would remember this as the day where everything went wrong with his youngest daughter. The next day, a Thursday filled with training, Naruto's Jiji took him shopping. Flashback. But there's nothing wrong with my orange jumpsuit. Naruto complained. Going to the strongest clan in the village with an orange jumpsuit would be a plain insult, especially if you want to play with their heiress. The Sandaime explained patiently. But, the orange. The holy log wants you to have friends, Naruto. Sandaime said pleadingly. I'm sure Hinata would like you much more without the orange jumpsuit. Naruto blushed furiously. With other clothes on. The Hokage corrected quickly. Well, if the holy log says so. Naruto said uneasily. Let's go. End flashback. Naruto found the whole experience surreal, having little to none experience to shops that didn't kick him out. Well, they didn't kick Kuro Kenshi out, did they? Anyhow, Naruto, with funds from his ever-benevolent Jiji, ended up purchasing 3 posh kimonos, each with the same swirling design, which he found out was based on Uzushiagakur. One was a vivid cerulean, the other black, and the last, of course, orange. He also bought a grey training gi, as well as a black shuzoku, a set of training kunai and shuriken, and lastly visited the gardening store and bought a hell of a lot of seeds. The next day they stopped training at 3 p.m. so Naruto could get ready for his visit. He ran back home, this time with no carriage crashing incidents, showered, got ready and walked to the Hyuga mansion, arriving 5 minutes early. He was greeted to the sight of a huge mansion in the center of a complex full of dojos, gardens, kitchens, houses. He walked up to the gate, to the nearest white-eyed guard. Hello. Naruto began, I have a visit with Hyuga Hayashi and his family. If it's not a bother, could you please show me where I should go? He asked politely. Sure, the white-eyed guard replied. He led Naruto straight to the biggest mansion, dropping him off at the door. Thanks, Hyuga. Hyuga Hippo. Hippo. Bye. Naruto watched for a bit as the Hyuga trailed away, before turning around to knock. Instantly, the door opened, revealing Hinata, in a white kimono embroidered with light pink rose designs, and Hanabi in a green kimono covered in designs of logs. Hello Hanabi-chan, Hinata-chan. Naruto greeted cheerily. Hanabi, your kimono is to die for. The holy log would approve. Thank you Naruto-kun. The 4-year-old replied. Hinata praised Naruto's cerulean kimono. Perfectly matched his eyes. You look very nice too, na Naruto-kun. She replied. How is your injury? Oh, it's all healed up. Doctors said I'd have permanent scarring, but, pfft, adults, what do they know? Hayashi and Hikage chose that exact time to reveal themselves, ushering all the children in. They exchanged greetings, had some tea, before going out in the garden to play a bit. 4 o'clock quickly became 5 o'clock, and before the children knew it they were settling down in a large, Lace-covered table. The idle chit-chat resumed as food was served by servants, which Naruto found it absolutely delicious, but managed to retain the small amounts of etiquette and manners which the Sandaime, Taijutsu, and Ayame had been trying to beat into him for a long time. After dinner they sat in the dining room, each holding fine china cups full of mint tea. Hikage had insisted that the children not play straight after eating as they'd become sick, though, Naruto unhelpfully pointed out that he never got sick, to which Hikage replied curtly that there were other people to worry about. Naruto had the decency to look abashed. "So, Hinata, how's your training?" Naruto asked, sipping his tea. Hayashi frowned, dismissing the idea that Naruto was trying to find out about the Hyuga clan's fighting techniques. "Oh, it's good," Hinata replied, absently sipping her tea. Hanabi sat next to her sister, devouring the holy book of log. "So Naruto, I hear you are planning to become a ninja?" Hikage asked. "Yep. First step on my way to Hokage." "Oh?" Hayashi asked. "Have you begun to train?" "Oh yeah, I've been at it for a year now." "Who teaches you?" Hanabi asked innocently. "Crap," Naruto thought, "I can't tell anyone it's Chiji because everyone will hate him, but I don't know anyone really, I can't make anyone up." "Well, I mostly teach myself. I learned some stuff from the Holy Book of Log, and I sometimes ask Chiji for scrolls or help." Naruto replied, half sincere. Technically, he did teach himself the Kawarimi and some jutsu from the Holy Book of Log. He had asked the Sandaime for help and scrolls, thus he wasn't outright lying. "But na Naruto-kun," Hinata said shyly. "I didn't want to offend you, but I thought you had no living." Seeing her obvious discomfort and worry that she would hurt his feelings, Naruto spoke up. "Oh no, don't worry, no offense taken. By Jiji I meant the Hokage, he's always been nice to me, even when no one else was, kind of like a kind grandfather to me." Everyone was kind of stunned, but got over it quickly. "All hail the holy log!" Hanabi suddenly shouted. "Hail the log, protector of shinobi!" Naruto replied faithfully. "Pray, tell, what is this holy log?" Hayashi asked, fighting the urge to sneer. "The holy log protects us," Naruto said. "It has been with us from the start of time, never abandoning us. Modern ninja have forgotten this ancient bond, but still the log protects us." Hanabi added. "What?" Hikage asked. "The great log is with us all the time," Naruto said sagely. "Give thanks to log, for 'tis log that you will call upon in your gravest instant of need. The log will save you even if you don't want it, for log is not petty. The log will protect all shinobi, so 'tis better to give the appreciation that log rightfully deserves." "Where did you get that from?" Hayashi asked, gradually worrying for his youngest daughter's sanity. "Chronicles of the Log Ninjas Uzveo," Hanabi asked. Paragraph 7. "So you worship logs?" Hikage asked. "Yes." Both Naruto and Hanabi replied. "The dead, chopped up, ex-tree logs." "No," Hanabi protested. "Filled with holy life sap." The two parents groaned. "I still don't get it," Hinata admitted, worried about her sister and new friend. He despaired. Hanabi began to quote, "For in this place of stone and earth, there was no logs to be found." Reaching out with all his might, he begged for a log in the forsaken wasteland, and he was answered, and saved by the log, in a place where there were none. Wanderer's Saga, verses 7-9, Naruto added to the sweat-dropping Hyugas. "Are you two talking about the Kawarimi?" Hayashi asked carefully. "Yes. Exactly." They both answered. Later that day. "Ah, Hayashi." The Sandaime greeted as the clan head walked in. "I was just about to leave, but I'm sure I can make time for whatever troubles you." Sit." The clan head took a seat, facing Konoha's leader. "So how was Naruto's visit? I hope he did not cause any trouble?" the Sandaime asked. Trouble? Trouble!" Hayashi shrieked, before regaining his stoic, calm visage. "The boy's insanity clouds him like a miasma, and he is already infecting my daughter's mind. People have worshipped demons, gods, idols, statues, Even fairies, but a log? He is truly and utterly out of his mind. The Sandaime got up, making his way out. Before he left, he turned around and patted the Hyuga clan on the head. Don't worry, it will all get better. Wanting to rile up the stoic man, the Hokage also added, for the log is with us. The resulting shriek scared birds off for miles. That's it for part 1. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.